Do the intro.
All right, and we are live with paraglidingtalk.com. You're here with your host, Para Perspective. I'm Robert Michiels, and tonight we have a guest of all guests, contender from the X-Alps, a legend in paragliding, Paul Guschlbauer. And we are excited, and we are live.
Nice to meet you guys. Thanks for having me.
Everybody just logged in right now. Here they go. Okay. The ticker is ticking. If you're new to the show, if you're new to this program, you make sure that you subscribe to this. I'm going to say that about 100 times before we leave because I'm so close to the 1,000 subscriber mark. It's not even funny. And once I get to the 1,000, then I get to monetize the YouTube channel. Want to encourage you to do that. Yep. Also like the video. I don't know what that's for, but just do that anyways.
And then you're going to wait another 3 months until it's really monetized because I tried that a couple of months ago.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Still not on.
They're still waiting.
Still waiting.
So if you want to find out about who's been on the show or who's coming on the show, you can find out that information at paraglidingtalk.com. Also want to encourage you to go check out the description. Excuse me. I was sick for a little while there. There's some connections that you can go and check out Paul Guschlbauer's channel on YouTube and subscribe to his channel as well. You're going to find out some much epic videos of him flying all things, not just paragliders, but airplanes, all kinds of cool stuff. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about that on the show. He is fast after getting his commercial pilot's license so he can fly, and he's going to be sharing his adventure that's coming up very shortly. There's also a link to his profile for the RedBull X-Alps, and so go check that out and see some of his accomplishments on there. I am super excited. I do want to say that I really appreciate you coming on the show and doing this with us. Before the show we were talking, and Paul has already been on Gavin McClurg's show. Yep. And so I sent an invite to Gavin, see if we can lure him in to come and join us tonight. And Paul only has 1 hour. He's going to be going to do some night flying tonight. And so I'm so glad that you squeezed that in. So let's dive right into the questions, and we will get to the show. My first question always is, how did you end up flying a paraglider?
It's a good first question, I guess. I ended up flying a paraglider. Well, first of all, hello to everybody who's already there. I don't know. I can't see who is there. So how many people are watching?
Right now we have 21.
Wow, cool.
21. Okay. They're logging in slowly but surely. Hey,
guys. Well, how did I get to the paragliding? It's now 12 years ago. Not very long, actually, for the 4 X-Alps that I already did. 12 years ago, I was into mountain biking when I was young, and then I didn't want to go training all the time anymore, and I traveled to Mexico for half a year, and life was much cooler there, and my bicycle was not with me anymore, and I kind of got away from it, and I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to go training every day for a lot of hours on the bike just to be ready for a mountain bike race on the weekend. So I was looking for something new, and I had a friend at the university who actually, Philip Medicus, he is now the boss and the chief designer of Nova Paragliders. And he was at the university with me, and he was already flying for a couple of years, and we were always going up this mountain in the city where we were studying. It's actually also my hometown, Graz in Austria. And we were always trying to go down. We walked up together, he with his paraglider, and we tried to go down as fast as possible. And I tried to run down as fast as possible, and he was flying down as fast as possible. And I always lost. And I was like, okay, I have to start flying because it's much easier to get down. It's much cooler. And actually, I got kind of fascinated. That was just one of the reasons to start it. And then he showed me a little bit. Then I went to flying school, and right away I was so fascinated. And while I was doing actually my course in 2000, it was end of 2005. So in summer 2005, my friend also told me about the X-Alps. So I was watching that for the first time, and I was actually telling all the group, my other co-students and the instructor, that's what I'm gonna do at some point. And they were, of course, they were laughing because nobody were like, "You're joking. It's only for the professionals and stuff like this." But it was kind of in my mind already, and so this is how it all started. And then I couldn't, like, at some point I even stopped university because of it. So yeah.
Whoa! It took you out of school.
Basically, yeah. In the
I
end.
love it. That's awesome.
That is sweet.
Life is an adventure. You better find what adventure you're going on quickly.
Yeah, I didn't. It took me a little bit longer. I mean, I was 2005, so that's like 12, 13 years ago. I was 21. So it took me quite long to really know where I want to go.
So you did some ultra running too, is that correct?
Not really, no. I did a lot of mountain bike racing. That's where I basically have my sport endurance thing from. I started mountain bike racing when I was 14, and then I basically never stopped training since then, really. I mean, I stopped mountain biking, but I never stopped walking, climbing mountains, running, all this. So
that was going to be my next question. Do you ever pick up your mountain bike and go ride?
Yeah, it's getting more and more again. I really had a long time where I was so focused on flying that I basically didn't do anything else than climbing mountains and flying. But now more and more I get on the bike again, and I really like it. It's maybe, I mean, I take part at some mountain bike races, or races that include mountain biking and running and paragliding. I did a couple of them in South America, Mexico and South America. And so this is what I still like, and that's also good because I'm really good at mountain biking, even if I don't do it a lot. It's like once you know how to ride a bicycle, you will always know, I guess.
Yeah. I like mountain biking too. So let me ask you straightforward. How's your ground handling?
Well, I know people who are better, but I'm pretty good, I think.
What did the people say about your ground handling?
Well, the one guy that I'm thinking of right now, he always says that I'm not really good. But probably other people would say, well, have you seen me ground handling? We've been on takeoff together one time. I wasn't really ground handling, but I took off. Did you see my takeoff? Was it okay?
I thought it was good. Yeah.
Okay.
I've got it on video.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Nothing stood out as being dangerous or.
Okay.
Yeah. I get stuck looking at your wing. That's the problem. I'm looking and drooling and then that's the end. We got to fly together at Blossom. By the way, we got Blossom shirts. I don't know if you can see that in the background. Blossom San Diego. Those shirts will soon be available. We haven't discussed the cost yet. I don't know how much it costs to make, but we're pretty much going to make them dirt cheap so that we can get everybody shirts. But I think it's a Blossom club, so you got to be a part of the club. So we talk a lot about ground handling on here. One, because I think it's the way to be the safest you can possibly be in the sport. You can know so much about what it is to fly, being on the ground. And our show really realistically is called Paragliding Talk because we're just talking about and learning about flying. And you don't always have, you go to your instructor, you're there for a week, you get your P2, you're learning, you maybe get some more instruction, get your P3, and then realistically, it's up to you to kind of be hungry to learn about stuff, right? Would you guys agree on that?
Absolutely.
And so I've wanted to create a place where we can start a conversation about paragliding, and because it's live, you can log in and ask questions. Where's Paul? That's Paul right there. Carl from Colorado. That's a running joke. Last week we thought we had Paul on and we didn't, and I forgot to tell him that he was going to be on, and so We'll just blame
Paul's not
Ryan.
here, man.
Where's Paul? Everyone kept logging in. Where's Paul? So let's talk about who inspires you now. You've got 4 X-Alps under your belt, right? You came in 3rd place 2 times.
3 times.
3 times. This last time was a 3rd time.
Yeah.
Okay. He's hot on the trail of stealing the 1st place title each time.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take. Maybe we'll ask that question. What are you doing to take those extra 2 spots so that you can be in 1st place this next year? And are you even going to be in the X-Alps next year?
I don't. Is that the question now? Okay, I'm not 100% sure yet. Just to answer that, I'm still at 50-50. I would say.
Hold on. To what? Going into the X-Alps next year?
Yeah. I haven't decided yet.
Oh my
Still
gosh.
50-50. I mean, it all depends on a few things that are gonna happen.
I'm looking at the chat for fire right now.
Fire.
The people are gonna riot if you don't go to the X-Alps.
Well, I think I will always be there somehow, because it's right next to it starts at my house basically.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I'm motivated to go for sure. It's just a matter of time and time for
how much how much training is involved in let's say an X-Alps run?
That's a little
like
bit
how long?
Tricky question, because you can't say, okay, now like I'm an average pilot, I'm an average athlete, and I want to go to the X-Alps. We won't work. So there's a long time preparation before that, where you have to like get ready to a certain level in all aspects, like also running, like how do you say, endurance, before you can think of it. And then like I'm as I said in the beginning, I'm doing sports since I was 13. I never stopped training basically. Like I have maybe a month in those 13 years total that I didn't go running or something like that. So I never stopped. And then from that level where I'm at right now, I take maybe half a year before the race, and I really start preparing, like focused on the race. And it's kind of hard, especially in the Alps. Not hard, but there's a lot of snow, so you can't say, okay, I'm training on the X-Alps route or something, because there's snow. So you have to wait. You have to do other things like ski touring or something like this. But to really prepare in the way that the X-Alps is, like hike and fly training, that's happening usually a month, 2 months before the actual race.
Phil Russman, another legend in paragliding.
A legend in his own mind.
What's up, Phil?
Hey,
What's up, Phil?
how's it going, everybody?
Fantastic. Good lighting in your office there. I called Phil today and harassed him a little bit, and I noticed that Phil has a viral video that went to 7 million views. I'm like, what? I didn't even know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Seen it yet.
So,
or maybe I haven't. I don't know. It's from him.
yeah, you watched it already. Yep. So you guys are no strangers. So you know Phil, Paul.
I feel.
Right, we've been doing some flying together.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw some videos. I saw you guys landing at the 800 at Little Black.
Right.
That was a cool day, man.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Ryan shared that video.
That was a nice day. Yeah.
So you get set up. You're months ahead of your the X-Alps. You're filling out an application, I assume, somewhere. They look over your application. They say, okay, you're in, or you didn't make the cut, and you start training. You're eating. You're strategizing routes. All of these things are starting to come into play.
Mm-hmm.
At what point, I guess what I'm looking for in a question is, at what point are you all in? Because you said I'm right now you're 50-50. You're going to have to make a decision pretty soon.
Yeah, that's true. And it's a very different situation for me right now than all the other years. I was never at 50-50 at that point before. I was always 100% already. Okay, I'm going to register, I'm going to prepare, and everything was in my head about this. But now it's a little bit different because I have this project still coming up, which I'm dreaming of since 1.5 years now and working on, which we can talk about later a little bit, I guess. But that's why first I have to get this basically not out of my head, but into my head first, and then and do it. And then after that, we'll see how it goes. I think there's always a time for a certain thing, and I've done the X-Alps 4 times, and I definitely want to do it again. I love to be out there, and I love to fly every day, and I love to hike mountains every day. So X-Alps is my thing, absolutely. But if there is not enough time for preparation, and if I don't feel 100% on it, I don't want to do it because it gets dangerous.
Right.
And this is actually the only reason. There is the pressure always. I don't want to go there and say, okay, I'm just training for fun and nothing's gonna happen.
No.
And I'm gonna be really motivated when I'm there, so I want to be good. So this is the reason why I think I have to take the decision. I have to feel that I want to take part again. And right now, I don't know yet because I'm going to do something else before.
So just so you know, you've got a bunch of contenders right now that are cheering that you stay home. Stay home. Stay home. Because you do so well. And there's nothing that can put more fear in these guys. And, you know, Kriegel, his time keeps on getting a little bit better. And the reason why is because you're biting his heels each time. And so like that last one, he made the right, you went to the left, or vice versa. And you guys, I think your line was the right line. And I think he's just lucky.
No, he's not lucky. He proved with 5 victories already. Is it 5? Yeah.
Yeah.
5. I think he proved that he's not lucky, right?
That guy's he's a machine.
Yeah. So I think that looking at the results from the last couple of years, you can obviously see that Kriegel is the best. There's no other way to see it. And I think he's actually also the only one that I think like I'm looking really up to, and I think there's a lot I can learn from him. But it's also how he's approaching everything. He's just very focused on this one race, and the X-Alps, and he just wants to win it. He's going there to win it. And
do you ever talk to him?
If I talk to him,
yeah. Do you talk to him?
I know him quite well.
Yeah.
I mean,
you ever try to ask him secrets?
8 years already. So
8 years?
Yeah, well, I mean, 2011 was my first X-Alps, and I know him since 2 years before. So time is passing really fast. So the years fly.
Was he a part of your decision to join and become a contender in the X-Alps?
Oh no, not really. I mean, he was in the X-Alps the first time in 2009, and I was in there first time in 2011, and I wanted to be at the X-Alps since 2007, 6, 7, I think. So it didn't really matter if Kriegel was there or not. It was just cool also to be with him in the race. I mean, 2011 was really, really cool because in the beginning of the race in 2011, the weather wasn't really good, and we flew the first day, and then we hiked over Dachstein, and we had to, that was the first turn, and we had to walk down on the south side. It's like 2,000 meters, like 6,000 feet descent hiking. In the beginning, it's really steep, and Kriegel and we met on top, and we walked in the first and second position all the way to almost the entrance of the Großglockner. So that's like 115 kilometers, I think.
Oh wow!
One day that we hiked together, and in the end we were kind of racing even a little bit in that second day, like running racing, but we ended up in the same place. We stayed the night at the same place. Next day we climbed up the mountain together,
Who's a better runner?
Pardon?
Who's a better runner?
I think we are pretty, like he trained a lot in the last couple of years. But I think in 2011 I was still a little bit better than him on the mountains.
He's older, right?
He's 1 year older, I think, only.
Oh.
But he was like, I wasn't even close to his flying abilities, especially back then. I mean, I improved quite a bit, and back then I was flying for 5 years, so I didn't have a lot of experience at all in the big mountains. And we went there. We came to the main ridge of the Alps, and it was a föhn day, so very, very strong wind. Like we came over. There's a little tunnel. You can't go through the tunnel, but the wind was blowing through the tunnel that he almost couldn't walk towards the tunnel. So we went over the tunnel, and on the other side was just a storm. Like really, I would have never taken my paraglider out in my life. And I have a video of this situation. I think I can't put it up here, but I have it somewhere. It's like I'm sitting there and like filming myself, and it's so much wind that I almost can't sit there. And he's right next to me taking his paraglider out and takes off. Like right there. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, okay, that's okay. That's totally okay. I'm not even thinking about taking my glider out. So I kept on walking, and he just flew away, and nobody saw him again until the goal. I think that was the year he was there 2 days earlier, although he took 1 day off. So he was like 3 days ahead.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember that one day he made the difference. He flew almost 220 kilometers or something, and everybody else flew the maximum of 30 or 40, I think. So he made a big difference there. Wow. But anyway, that's just like how I see it, and that's what he did, and he's really good, and that's perfect.
Make sure when you see, just go Google X-Alps and find some of the information on that, and watch this as it goes live. Especially Paul will vlog his progress each day. He puts out a vlog, and I love those. So many people talk about that. I watched and I was cheering for him the whole time. And
very good.
Yeah, go check that out. You're really gonna love that. And also, okay, so let's switch gears, because I know you don't have a whole lot of time. You're planning on doing something epic very soon. You're working on something very epic right now. I want you to talk about that, your plans, and what we're gonna see.
Okay, yeah, I wanna use this chance to tell you a little bit the whole story. I try to make it short, but there's a kind of an interesting story behind this project that I'm gonna do right now, and I think it's the right place and right situation to tell how I got there. I think it's in general that for every big goal you need something like or for everything you do, you need a really big motivation. Like all your life, there must be some goal in the distance, I think, that you want to reach to make a lot of magic happen on the way, basically. And that was for me when I started paragliding. That was the X-Alps. So I really wanted to go to the X-Alps when I started paragliding. And what happened on the way was that I started working. I quit my university, which was good, and so it directed me to the right path. I started working at Skywalk Paragliders. I became a test pilot there. I learned a lot about flying. I did a lot of cool trips all around the world to go paragliding, and that was all the cool things that happened until I was at the first X-Alps. And my goal was to take part of the X-Alps, and I never had the goal to win it. So after 2011, my goal was already reached. I was at the X-Alps. I was even on the 3rd place, which was nice, which was much better than anybody expected. I mean, nobody knew me before that, basically. But my goal was reached, and I, at the same time, I became a professional paragliding athlete. RedBull started sponsoring me. I had other contracts. I could start and make a living out of paragliding. But at the same time, my goal was reached, and I didn't have a lot of motivation anymore to go to the next X-Alps. And everybody was thinking, okay, next time he's gonna win. Of course, like I'm the new guy, and I come in. and I'm on the 3rd position already. So obviously, if I improve a little bit more, I could win. So there was a lot of pressure at the same time, but not a lot of motivation. And the next race, 2013, that showed it. I was really fighting like crazy, and I only came to the ninth position. It was my worst X-Alps. So I knew that I had to change something. I had to find something new that really motivates me. And I talked to my friend Hannes Ach, who is dead already now. You might know him. He was a very famous pilot. He was actually air race world champion with the airplanes and stuff, and a very legendary paragliding pilot too. I mean, you should Google him if you don't know him. He was starting the paragliding acro scene basically, and built the first.
These guys may know, but what was his name again?
Hannes Arch, Arch. He's a legend. You'll find him. I know you're new still in the paragliding, so but you should know about this guy.
Yeah, Phil, I think I've heard about him.
Phil
knows.
Do you know him?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I don't know him personally, but I know of him.
Yeah, and then there's also Andy Hediger, who is another who was with him in this team. They were like the founders of the RedBull aerobatics team and all this in paragliding. But anyway, so I went to him and I asked him if he thinks that it would ever be possible for me to start to fly in the air race with the airplanes. You know, like,
yeah,
I wanted to do that. So I asked him, you think it's possible? And he said, well, yeah, it's possible, but you should better start flying airplanes before. So because I wasn't flying airplanes yet. So I started flying airplanes, and as he told me that it's in general possible, I started to have this really distant dream. Like there's a long, long way to get there, and who knows if I'll ever get there. But it got me the motivation back. And so 2015 X-Alps went really well. That was actually the one when I was really fighting with Krieger. And 2017 went really well as well, because I had a really good motivation again. But what is happening now is that I'm kind of trying really to get closer to this goal. And that's why I'm doing this project now. That's how the circle like closes. I hope I didn't to talk too much about how it got there, but kind of an interesting story, I think, how it develops. And now the project is that I want to fly that Piper Super Cup that I started to fly. It's a bush plane in Alaska. That's one of the magic things that happened because of this new goal in the future. I started flying this Super Cup in Alaska, and I want to fly with that airplane all the way from Alaska to Argentina and go paragliding on the way as much as I can, check out all the cool places, all the mountains on the way. And it's going to be for half a year, and I'm going to start this June, and I'm going to climb all the cool mountains that are on the way. And yeah, that's the idea. That's the big motivation. And since 1.5 years, I'm dreaming about this. Now I'm here in San Diego getting my final, like my licenses to make myself feel a little bit more comfortable about it. And then I'm also almost going. So this is also the reason why the next X-Alps is still a little bit like further away in my head for me than it actually is in reality. Because first I want to go for half a year on a big trip and have all these adventures. So yeah, and then the big fact about this project is that I started the vlog, the YouTube channel, and the X-Alps vlog because of this project actually, and not because of the X-Alps. I have to admit that. It's kind of a surprise, but it was just a perfect moment to start a channel. And I mean, I loved to do the vlog, and I will do it again if I take part again. But I also tried to start this channel because the goal for this project that I'm going to do is like to do a vlog during this project and to tell all about it again. So this is kind of the new idea with this channel in the future, to make like a regular vlog over this trip, so people can follow me basically all the way from Alaska on the airplane and paragliding trip to Argentina.
Okay, so go into the link of our description, and you're going to find the connection to his channel. There's a handful of videos that you're going to need to go watch. He goes into Alaska. He's already done this with this bush plane, lands in the middle of this riverbed. And while they're there, a bear, a mama bear and a couple cubs come walking straight towards him. And I'm like, and he films it, and it's really good. I don't want to spoil it for you. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but it is intense, beautiful footage everywhere you look. The mountains, the scenery, the camera is really good. So go check out those videos. They're incredible. You'll be inspired to do something. And now, knowing about what you're planning on doing, I'm really excited. That sounds like it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I hope I explained that right. I mean, it's a little bit hard to understand what's going to happen really on the whole thing, because it's really big. Like, it took me a while to understand myself what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that I've come to understand about Paul in the short time that I've known him is that in addition to having these goals and these things that he wants to accomplish, along the way, he really, really enjoys sharing it with everybody, sharing the experience through his photography and his writing. And I think that that's a really wonderful characteristic of Paul. And I look forward to seeing all the sharing that's going to happen on this trip where he flies from essentially Alaska to Patagonia.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Thanks, yeah.
I love that invention, the idea of that adventure. And so who's going with you?
That's a good question. So far it's me going, and there
Got one for sure.
my airplane is really light and small. I can take one more person, and there will be one guy there, Aiden, who helps me do the videos. I mean, I do most of the videos so far. I did them myself. But he's going to help me with the editing and the filming.
So he is going to go with you or no?
He's going to go with me, but he might not be with me in the plane all the time.
So how's he going to end up going from place to place? He's going to have to get his own ride?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are different ways to travel, you know. You can take a jet or something. You don't have to travel in a 90 miles per hour airplane all the time. It can be a little bit boring for him maybe, but I don't know. I didn't talk in detail with him about it yet, but we're gonna figure it out. It might even be an option to for example, in North America, take a car, because I'm gonna spend 3 months. So in 3 months you can also drive a car down parallel to me. It's all about sharing, basically, and the idea, a big part of this, like Phil said, of this whole idea is sharing the adventure. And that's why I'm going to take him, and because he's going to help me to put all that footage and all these adventures that I have outside. And like Phil said, it's actually an important point for me, because I always had it, like I always took a lot of photos, I always filmed everything, and I tried to find a way to put it out there. And that's why I started the channel. And I had a lot of fun and a lot of motivation during the X-Alps, doing the vlog. It was like half the fun of the race almost for me to do this. And I think
same for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only watch the news guy so many times where he's like, we're here. This is so-and-so, and they're flying here and they're hiking here. I'm like, that's boring. Let me hear what Paul's saying. And you know, you're going play by play. This is what I'm doing. This is what's next. You're walking, you're running at the headlamp at night. I love every part of it. I still go back and watch them sometimes.
Yeah, I think that there's so many people, you know. I mean, I don't want to tell anybody what he has to do, but so many people end up in the normal, or that's at least my impression, in the normal system of life. It's like our world is designed. It's a little bit philosophical maybe, but our world is designed to take it down to a minimum thing, you know, like you go to work. Yep. And you go work so you can buy a bigger car, and then once you have a bigger car, then you go work more so you can buy an even bigger car, and the TV, so a bigger TV, you can watch TV after work, then you go work again. So basically it's like you can't go out of it anymore once you're stuck in this. I'm sorry if I tell that to somebody who is like feeling a little bit pissed off if it's like this. But I think you can do something different. You know, you can't just go and buy, even if you don't earn a lot of money. I don't earn a lot of money. All the money I earned was with paragliding. I really worked hard for it. I did some talks, but I took all the money I had and I just went. I gave it to a guy in Alaska and said, "Buy a plane for me, a cheap plane. Like buy anything. I just want to go there and fly it." So it's possible. Like in general, it's possible to change that. And I think the more you talk about those things, like you show, maybe people get motivated to do those things that they want.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, you told me you have 5 kids. You go paragliding. It's great. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't
Life is
imagine.
short, man. Life is short. You better do something fun.
Exactly, and that's kind of what I want to say a little bit and show a little bit that there's a lot of fun possible. It's still hard work. I mean, my wife tells me I'm a workaholic because I'm working all the time, but for me it's not work. I'm just doing what I like. I want to prepare for that project, and that's what I'm doing.
So let me ask you this: you put out a video. Your father was a huge inspiration in your life. He, you speak of him very well. I wish that we would have got to know him before he passed away. And this was very recent, something that was very heavy on your heart. And you were able to turn that into something beautiful and encouraging and motivating. And that was something that is very rare. So when I saw your video and I listened to every word of what you said, it's very encouraging. And there was something of life about that. And so maybe tell us where does that come from? You were able to bring such a good thing out of something that is so hard.
Kind of the result of, I mean, I said it in the video, and maybe if people want to watch it, I'm really happy to see people watch it.
Yeah.
But what I was thinking after he died, which was a little bit more than a year ago now, is like he was sportier than me, I would almost say. Like he was looking really strong. He did mountain biking every day. He was walking for 2 hours with the dog or running outside every day. He was 65 when he died from a heart attack. And so I couldn't get it. Like I didn't understand the world anymore. It's like, okay, he was really healthy. He had healthy food, and then from one day to the other, that's it. You know, so what it showed me, what I started to understand was like, you never know. You know, you never know when it's over, even if you try hard to do good things or whatever. So I kind of tried to use the time a little bit more that I have, and that, like, just do it. You know, just go. And if I have the chance to go to Alaska one more time, I should go and do it if I want to do it.
Yeah, definitely.
It sounds stupid, and I never thought that I would like say those quotes that other people like those wise people say, but the day is you should really like look at what you're doing every day, and if there's something that is just like wasted, I mean, nothing's wasted, I think, but there's a reason for doing things always.
Yeah.
But maybe you want to do something else, and you should think about, maybe I should have done this. You know, that's what I think.
So has there ever been a point when you're flying and we're talking about all things paragliding that you felt like you were out of control, and when you landed on the ground you thought, you know what, I need to recalibrate, I need to think about life?
I think there are a couple of, they were rare, those moments, luckily, but they happened, and it's just somebody's watching us something else here. Do you hear that? Is there a background noise now?
No.
Okay. So I think once you get pushed, sometimes you try, and I'm not trying to push my limits at all. Like I'm really trying to stay safe. Really, like I don't like that feeling of adrenaline or something. I never went that way. I had a friend of mine, very good friend. He was just chasing that all the time. He was just going for it. He wanted to go faster, and he died. So that was bad. But so I don't want that at all. But sometimes, for example, during the X-Alps, you kind of get into a situation where you kind of get forced to be on that edge a little bit more, and even over it. And then I landed, and I was like, wow, I was lucky here, but I could still make it up with the experience I had and the training I did before. So I think the important thing is just like to stay within the positive like zone, like the control zone, because at some point you will get pushed to the edge anyway. Like there's, especially with our sport, with that little paraglider that it doesn't even fly a lot faster if you want to fly it faster or something. It's so limited, like really, really limited in its abilities. You have to be very careful to like be safe all the time.
There's going to be guys that are going to watch this show and they're going to want to compete, or they're going to be planning on competing in the X-Alps. What do you tell those guys? They're planning on getting in. What do they have to do?
They have to fly a lot. They have to be really able to. Yeah, it sounds like a stupid advice, but you have to be like always with your glider. Like you have to love it. I mean, most of them will love it because that's the reason why they're gonna start. But then after you're sure you want to do it, you have to go to the Alps and fly there for a season at least, if you can. I mean, you can see in the different people that participated that most of the people who haven't spent a lot of time there flying, they were overwhelmed in the beginning of the race, and then they started fighting with a lot of running, but as soon as it started to be flyable, they were not doing really well. So if you want to compete and want to be good, you should make the time and you should make it happen that you get there and fly in the Alps. It's just important, I think. The more experience you have there, and then the training. I mean, start with some smaller hike and fly competitions. There are like 33 hours, I think they're long, small hike and fly competitions in the Alps where you just have a lot of good athletes taking part. Like Kriegel takes part at them a lot of times, and you can see what is possible on a day, and it's just fun, to race in these competitions. And then you'll also see how good you are, and it's also a race. It's also races that that the X-Alps people who select the athletes are looking at. So if you're good at these races, they're gonna take you. Otherwise, they're not gonna take you anyway. I mean, you could win the World Cup, or you could be very good in competition paragliding, and then you can be in the X-Alps as well. But you kind of have to prove in some way that you are, first of all, safe. That's the most important thing. A safe pilot and a good athlete that can handle it. Yeah. So
it is brutal. What you guys are doing is probably the most brutal adventure sport or adventure competition there is. I mean, can you think of anything that's more intense?
I don't know. I mean, if you would send me for the Vendée Globe sailing, it would be much more intense for me, I guess, because I can't sail. But
right.
But so it always depends on how good you are at it. For me, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I could probably go there and be relatively good because of my experience. So for me, it's not that bad. But yeah, it's quite. There's no break. You're going for 2 weeks or 10 days, 2 weeks straight every day, and you just have to like it. Like you have to like this kind of stuff. Otherwise, you will not be good at it.
Incredible. I'm so grateful that you're here on the show. By the way, go paraglidingtalk.com. I want to encourage you, if you will support the show financially, you can do it on Patreon. And you can also do it on PayPal now. And we're up to, it's like $100 a month. So that's pretty encouraging. We're planning on making some shirts. And I want to just challenge you to invest in this. What you're investing in is the future of your flying. When you get to the place where you think you don't need to learn anything else, is a very dangerous place. Phil has been flying for a long time, and yet he's still learning stuff every single time we fly together. I'm constantly following him around to learn stuff. But paragliding is not a sport where you just learn and then you stop learning. It's something that you're going to take with you forever. I don't know if you've anyways, for investing in this show. I think it'll help some people. If anything, it'll help someone else. And I want to keep this thing rolling because I have a passion to see people fly and fly safe. And so anyways, let me ask this question. If you could change one thing about paragliding, what would it be?
In which aspect you?
So let me give you an example. Gavin asked that question of one of the guys on the show. By the way, Paul Guschlbauer, I found out, was on the Cloud-Based Mayhem podcast with Gavin McClurg already. I don't know what episode it was, but the question he asked one of the guys, he said, if you could change one thing about the sport, what would it be? And the guy answered, he said that people would not be so concerned about adjustments right at launch and adjusting themselves into the seat, getting their feet in the stirrup, playing with their instruments all right at the very beginning of launch. Fly your wing first, get away from the hill a little bit before you make the adjustments. And I thought that was a really good answer and what he would change.
Yeah, don't play with your instruments so much. I had to, man. I couldn't.
Well,
I know it's not a simple question because it's something that,
my point there would be, I mean, education-wise, paragliding, I mean, Phil is probably the best one to talk to. I've seen him teaching, and that's really good, I think. But I would go to what I would wish is like the development of the gliders. I mean, it's going in the right direction. It's getting much safer. There was a lot of change there, and I think this is if the safe gliders can be a lot of fun, then that's the perfect thing for our sport. I mean, we can everything. People are afraid to fly. I mean, that's one reason probably they don't start flying is because they think they can crash or something. But we would be sure that like nothing can happen, basically, because the material is very safe, the equipment is very safe. So that would be already the point. And then it would be in the end like driving a car. You can still drive in a tree or something, but of course that's your own fault.
airbags.
But I think that's one change, and I'm working on it myself with Skywalk, and Skywalk is really working very hard on this to make they really like progressive in this direction, like to make it a glider that can't. I mean, there's no way a glider can't collapse, but if that would be good, it would be very safe and always controllable. You can descend when you want to descend, and basically do whatever you want. That would be the amazing thing, and so if we improve our equipment. That would be a very good.
You know who's working on that right now as we speak? Andre Bandera. Have you seen his channel?
No,
He's working on a project right now called the Uncollapsible Wing. He was. We interviewed him on the show.
A lot of times from many different people, so I really want to see what he's doing.
Yeah, he's got a really good idea, man. I laughed when I first heard him say it, and then I was like, okay, wait, he's got something. He's bringing stuff to the table, not like the other guys. He's literally bringing really good evidence, and the idea is there. He's an engineer too, so he's got access to a really nice facility where he can design stuff.
Okay.
Go to his channel. That's I'll have to pull that up. Maybe one of the moderators can pull that up. So
Andre Bandera, let's see what I can do.
Yeah, Andre Bandera. What advice do you give to the aspiring pilot?
Can you tell me what it is?
What?
Like the idea?
No, we're moving on to the next question.
Okay. So I have to find out myself.
Yeah. We'll share it in the link.
Okay.
Share it in the description. He's already on. He's like, wait a second. I want to see this. I want to know what it is.
Yeah, I want to know what it is. I mean,
it is pretty cool.
There's a couple of gliders myself that are still sold, so I know a little bit about it. And,
I'm surprised you don't know Andre. He has a really good YouTube channel. You definitely will like his channel.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll text it to you after we're done. And
yeah, my computer's not cooperating tonight to get
no.
that.
Phil,
yeah.
Phil, do you know how to put stuff in the comments?
I
Put
believe
you to work. Can you Phil was texting me all the information that he wanted me to put up, but I can't do it.
Oh, well, I can try and do that.
Okay, there we go. Somebody pulled it up already.
Sweet.
Yeah. So anyways, my next question is, because we're running out of time, you only have 10 minutes left. And then I do want to take some questions from the chat. What advice do you give to the aspiring pilot? We got a lot of guys that are on the ground wanting to get up in the air, that have never flown before, but they are, I mean, as passionate as I was before I got off the ground. What do you tell them? They're listening right now. We have 40 people watching right now.
Okay. I think it's important to just get yourself very like into this material, like your glider, and play with it. You want to really love it. I think that's one thing. And then a good instructor will really help. Somebody who flies himself and who takes you and says and can adjust to your abilities and your progress. And then, well, it's all about the time you can spend on it, you know. And then the important part will come at a certain point when you increase, you get better and better, and at the same time, you push and push yourself. And then at some point, usually there is this point where you're gonna crash, or and don't do it anymore, or you're not gonna crash and step a little bit back. So I think that point everybody should watch a little bit where he's standing and how good he really is. And maybe there's other people tell you, okay, well, don't push that hard, don't go that far, just step a little bit back, because in the end, you will have a lot more fun flying longer, and not once you broke your back, you either stop or you go on, but then you start flying on that level anyway, really at the beginning. So I had that myself. I crashed, I broke my back once. I did very good for a long time, but at some point it happened because I was just feeling like undestroyable. I was just like full speed all the time, going everywhere, whatever, and that's what happens, I think. And this is especially in the beginning, that's the point where you have to be really careful. So that's basically, I sound very, I think in this whole interview I sound really how do you say, like careful all the time and not risking too much and stuff like this. But especially for beginners, I think that can destroy a whole dream of flying if you push over this one thing because you think you get better. When I can just tell you from my own experience, I mean, now I spent most of my time in the last 2 months. Yeah, I was in Colombia and Argentina. I flew a lot with the paraglider. I felt very comfortable. But now I didn't fly for a month, 1 or 2 times only. So I go there and I put myself really low again. Like I go to the takeoff and I watch it, I take it easy, and I don't feel 100% proficient anymore. Although I know I'm good enough, you know, I probably can handle what other people on this takeoff can handle, but still I'm going there very careful. And I think that's always a good attempt, especially for a beginning pilot, that even if you already know everything, you think you're really good, just be a little bit careful. And then on the long run, it will be much better.
So the questions lit up when you said that you crashed. How did it happen? And maybe take us through that in about 2 minutes.
In about 2 minutes. Wow. Yeah, it's a short story. I mean, when was that? I think after X-Alps 2013 or before 2030. I don't know exactly. I was going for a cross country from my own takeoff, basically behind the mountain. I climbed that mountain. There was not a lot of people taking off, and I wanted to fly a 200 kilometer FAI triangle. I just wanted to fly it on that day. So I flew and flew. Everything went really well, and in the end, there was a big thunderstorm a little bit to the north of me, and I was like, I thought I'm exactly at 175 or something. So I just needed one big glide. So I tried to maximize that glide at 7 p.m. in the evening, and the glide. And I went to a ridge, and that ridge, like there was this cold air pushing over it from the north side, from that thunderstorm. and I went on that ridge, and it was a little bit like a lee side, not a real strong wind though, but there was like the temperature difference which made the wind accelerate. So I went into the lee side really close to the ground because I thought it's not strong. Like I was maybe a meter off the ground. There was this 3,000-foot cliff on the side and just went over. The wind collapsed. It was a huge collapse. Luckily to the other side, it opened again. I thought I have it already, but it collapsed in the front and I was on the ground already. And I got stuck in that big rock face and nothing really happened. I was really good. I had just a little crack in my bone, my vertebra. I was really lucky. But I was just pushing, and then I checked after that, nothing bad happened. I was just taken out by the helicopter. That's it. And I was checking the GPS track, and it was exactly 200 kilometers on the place I crashed, actually. So
Oh, wow.
there was no reason to push it, there's just no reason at all to do that. And that's how it happened. So
Well, the good news is you completed your mission.
yeah, I mean, that's part of it. The good news is that nothing happened. And in the same year, I don't know what happened, what I did. I think I did this project with Tom the Dolado when I could still complete that project, at least. That was good.
So everyone, I want to encourage you, go subscribe to Paul Guschlbauer's channel. There's some epic footage coming very soon. He is getting ready right now. He's itching to go. He's going to go fly right now, an airplane. He's just about finished. He's already got his what is it, VFR?
I've got my private pilot VFR basically licensed since 4 years, and I did my IFR, and now I'm commercial.
That's it. So tomorrow he takes the test. So pray for him to win. Pray for him to pass that test. That's tomorrow. Yeah, you got to win.
No, it's on Tuesday.
Tuesday. And so he's going to take that test. He's going to get his commercial license, and then the adventure begins from there. What else? I think that's it. I really appreciate you coming on, man. And I knew we had to squeeze this in, and you made arrangements to make that happen.
I was. Thanks for having me here. Really, and
so
I
fun.
would love to see who is there and like all your commands. You must have a total studio there with all commands and people. I don't see anything except you. I was just thinking I'm talking to you for all the time.
So what I should have told you before is that you can go also, while this is going, you can click on YouTube and then just pull up the live stream, and then you could see yourself on that channel, and then you could see the chat. And by the way, before you go, I set you up as a moderator for the show.
Okay.
So anytime that the show is on, you'll have executive privileges in the chat, like Phil and Neil and some of the other guys that have the little tool next to their name when they're in the chat. And then you can also come on the show whenever you see us on. If you're hanging out at the hotel or whatever, or even if you're in Wi-Fi in your campsite, you can log on and join us and hang out with us.
So I would like to say one more thing. So this whole idea about the project, just want to mention it one more time.
Yeah.
There's a homepage coming up, I think in a week, more or less, which is all about will give you all about this information about this project. I'm also working on a vlog that will describe all the details about the project, and then I'm just saying it. I'm also going to start an Indiegogo crowdfunding campaign for it, because there's a reason. Like, everybody will think, okay, he's RedBull athlete, he'll all get everything paid and stuff like this. It's not like that. I'm a paragliding pilot, and I found sponsors for being a paragliding pilot, but for making it happen to fly this airplane all the way down there and talking about it and bringing somebody to do the movies. That's a lot of money, and if you like what I'm gonna do, of course I will show on the way. But also, if you like that channel already, that Indiegogo thing will be there, and maybe somebody wants to support it.
Yeah. Do you have the website live, or is it going live
it's
soon?
Coming in a week.
Okay.
Very cool rewards as well. I have a very good cooperation with Saleva. That's this brand who also sponsors the X-Alps.
Nice.
And they will have some specially branded products for this project. The project is called Overland, actually. And so if you want to buy those items after that will also
Yeah.
be the project. So there will be a lot of stuff going on about it, and the more you follow me, guys, that's the most valuable thing for me.
I will automatically post it on the website, so you know.
That's cool.
I'll put it on our website.
Too bad it's not online right now yet, but right now for this talk, but it's gonna be there in a week, and I'm really looking forward to see a lot of you guys. And that one most important or very important thing about the whole thing is that it's all about communication and interaction. So if somebody is living on this way between Alaska and Argentina, and he thinks, well, he flies airplanes and there's a nice strip that I should come to and land, and we hike up the mountain and go paragliding. This is what I'm looking for. So if there's an idea, an invitation for my trip, I'm happy to go there and visit.
How about this? I don't know if you want to do this, but maybe come back on the show again before it begins.
Well, I think a good idea would be maybe to go on the show when I'm here with my plane. Because, I'm gonna go all the way down here, and I'm gonna land somewhere here. I don't know.
Stay at Ryan's.
Or maybe we find a cool spot to land, and then we go paragliding together, and we can find a time to do another show. Yeah.
I have a spare room as well if you don't want to stay at Ryan's mansion.
Yeah, too big for me. I mean,
yeah, we have a room with 2 beds. That's all you get.
Great. No, thanks a lot. Especially that's what those invitations is really cool, because that saves money and that's fun to meet other paragliding pilots on the way and go flying together and stuff like this. So that's
right
fun.
on. Paul Guschlbauer, so grateful for you to come on, man. What a great show. What a great time. Really appreciate that, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Paul, when you're flying tonight, take a selfie and send me the picture. I want to see.
Yeah, I can do that. It's going to be LA at night with all the lights.
Oh, cool.
I'm flying to Van Nuys. You know Van Nuys?
Venice, yeah. Venice Beach. Venice, California.
Van Nuys. That's a little bit northeast of LA.
Okay.
I don't know. It's an airport.
Yeah. So you're going to fly there and then fly back tonight?
Yeah. Exactly.
You need a passenger? Or?
Well, yeah. There's one more space if you want to come, but you would have to leave your show right now.
Okay. All right. I'm going to call you right after this.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, guys.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. And if you want to, you can write me a message on Facebook or whatever if you want to know something, or if we didn't talk about something, I'll try to answer.
Right on.
Cool.
Paul,
thanks everybody for watching too.
Yeah, right on. Neil, thanks for what you do. Phil, thanks for coming on again. Really appreciate you guys, and all the moderators in the chat. Another great show. Really appreciate you guys. We will see you on the next one next Thursday at 6 p.m. Paraglidingtalk.com. Have a great night, everyone.